All right, hello everybody. Today we are going to talk about Leonardo da Vinci. All of these pictures from this slide were taken on my trip whenever I went to uh, Denver. When we went to the Denver Art or the Denver Natural Science Museum, they had an exhibit on uh, Leonardo da Vinci, and so all of these photos were photographs that I took during that expose. So, all right, Leonardo da Vinci, 500 years of genius. Yes, it's been 500 years since Leonardo da Vinci. 500 years since the Renaissance. Now, Leonardo da Vinci was a very secretive man. During the Renaissance, people kept trade secrets very secret. They kept things very secretive because if somebody was able to get a hold of your manuscripts, like this one here, they could steal your ideas. And it's kind of like how we have patent laws today or copyright laws. Back then, they didn't have any. So you had to basically develop your own way of writing and your own code when you were writing things down. If you did not, then you needed to make sure that you kept all of your manuscripts on you at all times in case someone was to steal them. Well, Leonardo da Vinci developed a way of writing backward. It was called mirror image letters. Uh, Leonardo da Vinci was a man of his time. He was a pure genius. To uh, We've coined the term Renaissance man after Leonardo da Vinci because he did many different things. He was an architect. He was an inventor. He was an artist. He studied medicine. He studied uh, aqua engineering, as what they would used to call it back then, military engineering. Um, he sewed. He dealt with light. Every possible thing that you can think of, Leonardo da Vinci probably had dabbled a little bit into it in his studies and his way of thinking. But anyways, back to his writing. He used to write backwards in order to protect his trade secrets. And in these manuscripts, if you zoom in on them, you could see them. If you take a look at the slides after this video, you can get a better view of the information. Like if you were to zoom in onto this picture here, you will see that it is written backwards. That again, if you can read Latin or Italian, then you would be able to read these. Anyways, Leonardo da Vinci was born near a town called Vinci. Um, Leonardo probably did not have a father, and so people who did not have a father, they took the last name of the town that they were from. So his name literally translates Leonardo from Vinci. Um, for 10 years, Leonardo was an apprentice underneath some of the Botticelli, one of the greatest artists in Italian Renaissance. Um, he taught Leonardo a lot of the foundations. Leonardo had a very fascinating mind when he was looking at something like that was moving really, really fast. He was able to take a mental picture of it and freeze frame it. Like whenever a bird would fly, he could actually see the movement of the wings as it flexed through the air, or as water dropped into a pool. He could freeze frame that image, and then he would be able to duplicate it later. Um, he was an inventor, like I said. He did all sorts of things. One of the first things that he ever invented was a spring-loaded, self-propelled cart. If you continued to rotate the cogs back here in the back and keep them tight, you would eventually be able to make this cart propel you without the need of any force from you. It was pretty neat. Matter of fact, you can buy models of this in that train shop in the middle of Hollister, and it functions and works perfectly. This is a gentleman and his friend who would dress up in period-like clothing of Leonardo da Vinci. And the other gentleman here is his apprentice that he had, well, for many, 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 many years. Um, Leonardo da Vinci was one of the ones who first came up with the first design for a working bicycle. Now, could you imagine having an all-wood bicycle? It'd be kind of rough. He came up with a device to measure distance, so an odometer, in order to measure out miles. He was in engineering, so he learned that the more pulleys you have, the less work that would be required to pull a huge weight. So even the military today can use they use block and tackle. That's what this is called, and they will get several pulleys in a position like this, and one person can pull a Hummer out of the mud if he sets up the block and tackle properly. So we're going to go into some of the military engineering that Leonardo did. He came up with what was called the bombarda, which was a huge mortar cannon that would shoot either shot or big giant balls of big giant explosive balls over the walls of castles. Um, so he was the one who originally came up with this, and today we call them mortars. Pretty simple. Here he did on the left-hand side, he developed a mechanism to quickly move a ladder into place to go over the walls. And then he later improved upon that design as a push-forward wagon that would be completely covered so that whoever was climbing up the backside and over the wall could be completely protected. A lot of Leonardo da Vinci's inventions would later make military walls nearly useless. He also invented the what was called the organ cannon here, and basically what it is was a triangular block, and you would have these tubes. Each one would be a gun, and you would fire each one of them. And as you fired each one of them, you would load the bag. So it was one of the first steps to a machine gun. Here are some other devices like the duck bill or the duck-footed musket. This device over here on the left-hand side is a chariot that would be pulled by horses, and it would rotate very, very fast, um, chopping the enemy. It's almost like a lawnmower for men. Here's the replica of that duck-foot cannon. He also came up with many other different types. Leonardo da Vinci, there are different types of weapons like this here. Leonardo da Vinci didn't do this for fun. This was his way of making money. Matter of fact, he made more of his money not through his art, but actually through his military inventions. He did come up with the first design for the tank, as you can see here, um, as you would have a covered wagon, and you'd have many guns and ports off the sides. He is credited for coming up with the first design for a parachute, and they tested this out. And it would take a very big one in order to actually save somebody's life, but it works. My daughter stands here is about 3 foot tall. Okay, and this is a ballista that Leonardo da Vinci made, and this is only a 1/3 scale model. So it's 3 times bigger than this, as you can see here depicted in the picture. Of course, this invention wasn't needed because cannon um, was a lot easier and failed a lot less than this device did. So this giant ballista never really was made, but Leonardo da Vinci definitely came up with a plan for it. Leonardo da Vinci came up with some of the very first flight. Um, as you can see here, the helicopter. Matter of fact, guys, I'm not reading these pictures for you. I implore you, go back and reread some of the history in these. But he made one of the first um, helicopter designs while looking at a tree and a seed that would float down to the ground. And you've ever seen the seeds with the like a sycamore seed? It has the little fan on it, and you throw it in the air, and it spins around. Well, he made the first helicopter design. And while watching birds, he came up with one of the first airplane or flight devices. The thing that Leonardo da Vinci, of course, is most known for is his art. I'm just going to quickly go through these, but again, please go back and examine these. He was known for his realism. He did a lot of self-portraits, not because he liked doing self-portraits of people or doing portraits, not self-portrait, doing portraits of people, but wealthy people would pay him to do those uh, portraits. Uh, Here, he also did a lot of religious artwork for churches. Again, this is a major, uh, uh, a one of the, I believe this may be one of the Medicis, or maybe one of the people from Milan, noblemen who paid him to do a portrait. And here's some more religious artwork. You can see the realism and the sickliness of this old man here. A lot of artwork that Leonardo da Vinci didn't get finished, and he made a lot of his patrons mad. A patron is someone who would pay for art. Well, he would make them mad because he wouldn't finish a lot of them. You can see here, this is the baby Jesus. This is the Madonna Venosa. Okay, this is, and then this one here is the La Vergine della Rucci, Virgin on the Rocks. This is one of Leonardo's probably third or fourth most famous painting. You can see Jesus here uh, with the staff getting blessed by another baby. Well, this baby right here is John the Baptist. Okay, Leonardo da Vinci's most famous work, of course, is the Mona Lisa. Um, it is a portrait for possibly a nobleman, but we're not exactly sure the origins of Mona Lisa. But you can see uh, her smile. You're not quite for sure what she's looking at. You can see the background color, and it's just very beautiful painting. She has a very mysterious gaze and a slightly turned up smile, and we're not quite for sure why. If you were to move around the room, her eyes will look as if they are following you. Again, read through this and read any other information that you have. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please again, go back through the slides, look at these, and then look at some other artwork like the Last Supper. I didn't get the opportunity to put that up here, but it's a really good painting as well. Thank you guys. Bye. But I hope not bye, but I hope you guys are being safe, well, and remember to wash your hands. Don't touch your face. Thank you. Bye.